How to create successful teams. So as I'm not a psychologist, I just would like to discuss with you some of my own experiences as an entrepreneur, but also some experience from our incubator we have here in Munich. We support and we coach around 100 teams a year. And so at the beginning, when we started 10 years ago, we concentrated most on the idea, on the innovation process to create a business model and so on. But what we found out, the biggest problem was that most of the time teams failed. So the problem was not the idea, the problem was not the solution, but the problem was the team. And even worse, often when teams are just getting successful and they could earn money or they could make impact, teams fail because they fight, they don't understand each other anymore, they don't understand how they could work together. So what could we do to make teams more stable, to go on with the project even when it gets successful? Just let's see a team development model. This is a well-known one, but I think the steps are still okay. So first there are these individuals and you have to bring them together. Then normally everybody in the team want to find his position there. And this we call storming. And then when you have somehow a structure in your team, and this hopefully leads into a performing team which adds value. So, but let's start with the forming phase. How to bring individuals together to a team. And I think the most important thing is when you start building a team to have a shared vision. Because only when you have a shared vision in a team, this gives you the motivation to even put commitment in. And when you have a mission then out of this vision, so you know your part of your team, how you could contribute to add value, then you give also your commitment. And the third thing what is really important is the value in the team. Because when you don't understand the values of the other one and then you can't accept the values of the other one, it doesn't help that you work together because you never will create a stable team. So on the base of these three different perspectives, vision, mission and values, you will create the culture of your team and of your startup. So how to do that? How do we do that with our teams? How can we find out if they have the right vision? We often do this really pragmatically. We give all the team members an empty sheet and they should write their vision, they should write their mission, and they should write their fears about the project, their values, it's what is important for them, also some private values. Do they need time for family or do they want to do something else? And then we share these different papers. And then we tell them, create your manifesto for your team out of these different visions and mission and values. And set up your goal, what is important for your team. And for us this helps because people think from beginning on, could I work with these team members together in one startup? The other thing is, of course, it's not only about vision, but you need a complementary team. So you need team members who have different abilities, who have different skills, who have different experience, and who have a different character than you. And how to know your character? There are a lot of different models out there. One could be the DISC profile. So there are a dominant character, there's an influent character, there's a steady character, and there's a compliance character. The difficult thing is, normally you like people who have the same character than you. Think about, you are an influence person. You have a lot of ideas, you are inspired immediately, you are outgoing. So when you discuss with another person who has the same character, it makes fun to discuss. But think about when you have a guy who is somehow more accurate, a compliance guy. He wants to see numbers. He wants to exactly know what do we do to the next step, but you think already on the next idea, it's difficult to discuss. But when you know you need this person to be successful, you accept much more that it's good to have this person in your team. So you also can take Myers-Briggs indicator, so there are 16 different types of persons, or also quite interesting, you have this model of Belbin roles. Because when you want to have a complementary team, you need different roles in your team. Let's see a bit more in detail these Belbin roles. There is one area, this is the thinking group. This is the plan. This is the outgoing, creative guy with a lot of new ideas. There is a specialist who can develop such a product, or also the monitor evaluator. Then there is the people group. So for example, the team worker, he brings a team together. You know, that the team understand each other, he tries to make a good atmosphere in there, or you have a coordinator. Or another one likes to talk with other people, to find customers, to get resources from outside. And they are the action people. They want that really the good ideas of the thinkers get implemented. There's a shaper, there is an implementer, and there's a completer. So think about when you want to have a new member in your team, find somebody who can complement your team. So when you know now, you have to have the same vision, you have to have the same values or share some same values. When you know what type of person you need, how to find the right person. I think there are 3 criteria which are important. It's attitude, it's ability, and it's aptitude. Because you need the attitude to know if this person is committed to the job and to the team. Abilities is, do this person have the right skills and also the competencies you need for this project? And aptitude is, can this person make value, added value for your project on a long run? There's a nice investigation of Mariana Bossesan, and she found out that investments in teams which don't, or in projects, which do not care only on profit or profit people planet, but also who care about the team, the internal behavior of a team. So what are the ethics? What is the ego? What are the emotions in a team? And also what is the culture in a team? And when they depend their investment on this criteria, such an integral investment and such integral metrics are much more successful than when you only look on profit. So team matters. We made some investigation here at our university with teams. And what we found out, that also the roles, the importance of roles in a team differ with time. Let's take this example, what you can see here. Let's take the red team. The bubbles, they recognize, we asked these people, this was Florian Huber in our team, who did this investigation, and he asked the teams how important is the other one for the interaction and for communication for the rest of the team. So, and you could see on the red thing, after the mid of a project, the shaper who pushed the solution to the next step was one of the most important one. The team worker was also important, but not that important. At the end of the project, this changed the importance of the people. So the role shaper was not that important anymore, but really important for the team was the team worker. Because when you have to finish somehow a task, you need somebody who brings the people together. So the role of the team members changed during the process. And we also investigated the performance of the teams. The blue one was the most successful team. The green team was had the lowest performance. And when you see, at the beginning they had a lot of interaction and communication in the middle of the week, the blue team. At the end, they had few communication and few interaction. But they were still the best performing one, and the green one. They had a lot of communication all the time, in the middle of the project and at the end of the project. But when you only talk and talk, but you don't have to work, you don't want to implement, then it's also a problem. So the interaction part and the quiet working parts, they differ also on different points of time during the process. So have in mind, team roles change and the importance of the team roles change. So what to do to enable your team to do great things? Build your team on the value of trust. Second thing is, create a culture where it's not only important that you have party, that you have a fun culture, but create the culture based on execution. At the end, it's only important if you add value with your team. So people have to execute and not to have only good mood and so on. This is also important, but execution is the most important one. Place responsibility to the different team members, because when you don't do that, you have to do all this by yourself, and even the team is not integrated. So when you have equal important team members, share responsibility there. Next thing is avoid group thinking. Because when you think the team is great, you understand each other, you want to that everybody feels well, often it's this way that you don't give the importance to a single opinion, to a single experience. And often it happens that when somebody knows that there is something wrong, he doesn't want to articulate his fears about the project because he thinks, wow, you destroy the good feeling of the group. So avoid group thinking and accept different opinions and different experience because they help you to make your project better. Another thing, this is really hard, especially for social entrepreneurship teams. Don't accept low performers. When there are people in your team and they don't like to really commit to the project, try to get rid of it. You need high performers. And this doesn't mean that you only need people with grade A in their degrees and certificates. No, these are people who can make value to your project. This is important. Next thing is be reliable. Be reliable to your team, that they can trust you, but also be reliable to external stakeholders. When you praise something for outside, how good you are and what are your values, you should live these values also inside your team. Because otherwise, on the long run, nobody believes you that you are a real important team who could make value on a long run. And last point, of course, accept failure and be aware that crisis will come and will come. So when you grow in your team, you will have another crisis because some people are not satisfied. You have to change then the team structure. And so while you grow, you will have crisis. Be prepared for the crisis. And so when you do that, I think, by adding a lot of value to society, you can have also a lot of fun in your team.